we're back here again in Ottawa with Angelica Toy, one of our people from Alberta. How are you doing today, Angelica?
Doing good, thank you.
Good, great. So Angelica is going to also be covering everything that's happening here in Ottawa with you, Alexa, as well. You're going to be here for the whole week, right? You're going to be covering everything for the whole week.
Are you talking to me?
To you, yeah.
We see I'm actually as available to cover as much as possible because I was on the ground since the whole month. The same after the convoy was dismantled, I was still there and I was still observing what was happening with the police and the red zone that they call in the. So hi, Angelica. I never had the chance to meet you in person. So, what is your thought so far? I don't know if you were you were probably aware about the Freedom Convoy in Ottawa, but what is your thought to see what happened in Ottawa and what is happening now in this inquiry about the Emergency Act?
So I only got to see what Ottawa looked like through media, through my friends who were there. And what I saw was just a bunch of Canadians who were completely peaceful. I mean, there were videos of them dancing in the streets and feeding the homeless. They were putting warm gloves on people who were cold. And it was just a big, loving community who were there to, fight for their ability to survive, because a lot of those people, they had nothing to lose. So that's why they were there. They had no choice because the government put them in a very tough position. And right now I'm seeing, the evidence come out that there was no violence. We've heard it many times, only feelings of violence, which obviously does not fall under the Section 2 of the Emergencies Act. So it's nice to see the truth of that finally come out. But I'm still pretty disappointed in the Emergencies Act, because it's obvious here that it wasn't necessary, as they were able to make negotiations, as we saw with Marcel Bowden. He was able to make negotiations to remove people from Confederation Park. So,
and I think you were able to catch Marcel Bowden earlier. Yeah. I don't know if we can throw to that clip with sound. We can see that you had the chance to ask him a question earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Protest sites during the negotiation. Do you think that the actions of the federal government invoking the Emergencies Act that ended that ability? Once again, you were part of a team that cleared up protest sites through negotiation. Do you think that the actions of the federal government invoking the Emergencies Act ended that ability?
I know there's an OPP media person that you could probably reach out to if you reach out to Bill Dixon.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
So how was it? I know since the beginning of the Emergencies Act inquiry, I've always been asking questions. How was it feeling? How did you feel being the one having the microphone, actually going after him?
To be honest, I wanted, my question answered. I saw him right away and I was like, hey man, I'm interested to know, because they were there on scene and ultimately they're the ones who know the truth. So yeah.
No, definitely interesting. Yeah, and
you're more polite than I will be, because with his answer about the fact that the dismantle was professional and pretty well made, and no really use of overpower from the police been done. I would have said, were you aware that some people were beat up? And I'm not talking just about men, but women as well. Did you aware that some people were pepper spray, shot in the legs? Have you been aware of that, or you just listen what you just saw through media? Because I'm not sure it was actually on the ground there that these 2 days. And I'm really curious where it take his information from.
Yeah, and talking it once again from underground journalism, underground experiencing. I know, Alexa, you were underground February throughout the whole Freedom Convoy, and earlier we heard the third witness of the day, I believe his name is Superintendent Bernier, talked about allegations that the protesters came to Ottawa to quote unquote take over the capital. Is that what you were feeling when you when you were walking around talking to people, or overthrow the
No.
capital?
So the people were there, most of the people were surrounding their trucks for like making sure that their truck was okay. And the other people were volunteering to feed the other people around, make sure that they were okay, shoveling the snow that nobody injured themselves. And taking like all the garbage from the street for making sure that the street was clean so that people will see them as good citizen, because they were not there for creating like any damage of the city or anything. They were just there for asking and requesting the lifting of the mandate. And same if everybody was coming from different walk of life, they were there for the common goal to just see their life back being normal again. And
Mm-hmm.
thinking over the capital? No, I don't think so. No, no, not the people I actually witnessed so far.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think we spoke to a lot of people and we don't have a lot of time left. There's two things that I want to make sure that we touch on before we leave this live stream. Angelica, you're from Alberta. We're actually being taken over right now. We've got two people in the Airbnb that are from the great province of Alberta compared to one from Ontario and one from Quebec. So, Kian, I know you're listening. But Angelica, you're from Alberta. And we know that the Solicitor of Alberta, throughout the first day of the testimony of the Emergencies Act inquiry, showed her opposition to the use of the Emergencies Act, to the invocation of the Emergencies Act. How, from what you've been able to witness in Alberta, how are the people in Alberta feeling about the use of the Emergencies Act? Because we know you also had the Coutts blockade right there.
Mm-hmm. Well, from what I witnessed, people are pretty upset. I remember witnessing the protests that broke out in support of the Ottawa convoy, when, especially when they invoked the Emergencies Act, and the numbers grew large. I remember there was at least like 25,000 people marching in the streets, and people were very, very upset about that because it was obvious that it was unnecessary.
Yeah, the emergency, 100%. A great segue from that, Alberta. We all know that Justin Trudeau doesn't like Alberta. In fact, in the past, Justin Trudeau once said that the country belongs to Quebecers when he was running with the Liberal Party. He says that it would be better if the government had more Quebecers in the government instead of Albertans. And Justin Trudeau, our national drama teacher today, spoke about the emergencies. He spoke about Doug Ford and his relationship with Doug Ford throughout the Freedom Convoy and before the invocation of the Emergencies Act inquiry. Can we show what our great drama teacher had to say?
Your reaction to Premier Ford fighting the summons to appear before the Emergency Commission? Should he appear? I will let the Emergency Commission manage its own witnesses. For my part, I was glad to offer to go as soon as we called the Commission, because it was an automatic part of when you invoke the Emergencies Act, you make sure that there's a public inquiry to look at why it's done, and that's exactly why we called it, and that's exactly why I'm looking forward to appearing. But I will say it was important that different orders of government were able to work together, and Premier Ford and I worked together well on delivering a return to normal for the citizens of Ottawa and people across the country.
But that's not what the transcript said. Like, how you said that he was out to lunch, he wasn't there.
We've seen over the course of this inquiry a lot of different events happen at different times. And yes, there were times when our different orders of government weren't as aligned as we would have liked to be. But it's obvious that Premier Ford chose to stand with people of Ottawa, people of Ontario, people of Canada, and not with others. Merci beaucoup tout le monde.
You know, there's two things from what Justin Trudeau said right here. The first thing, our government called for the Emergencies Act inquiry, but we all know that the inquiry is something that is forced to be done after the Emergencies Act is invoked, to make sure there's no authoritarian leader, Justin Trudeau, that would invoke it unjustifiably and unnecessarily. So that's one of the lies, well, not the lies, but a bizarre thing that Justin Trudeau said right here. Another thing also, we see Justin Trudeau always campaigning with Doug Ford. In fact, while Doug Ford was running to be the Premier of Ontario, Justin Trudeau was at multiple of his events. We almost felt like he was campaigning with Ford, for Ford. So definitely a bizarre bizarre thing, and I really hope that Doug Ford will be summoned and will appear in front of the committee.
But in the same time, like now that we know that the police have like most of the power for doing what they say, that they claim that they needed the Emergencies Act for doing their job, when we know that they were able to do it anyway without having it. And I don't know if you remember, but the Emergencies Act was voted on a Monday after like the weekend of the dismantle act passed. And I think it stands for less than 24 hours after that they drop it afterwards. So the question remains on, did you really need the Emergencies Act to be approved to justify the action that been made during the 2 days of dismantle? Because for having it done, like, I don't know if you recall how strong was their position on the need on that Monday of the Emergencies Act for afterwards dropping it after less than 24 hours. The question remains why it was so important 24 hours before dropping it to have this Emergencies Act being voted.
Yeah. No, for sure. For sure. As I said, I'm super interested to see what Doug Ford had to say and how he can justify calling himself a conservative and standing with Justin Trudeau when it comes to trampling on the civil liberties of peaceful protesters that came here to protest the federal government's COVID-19 mandates and basically the federal government as a whole in general. Well, our time is almost up. Do we have any paid chats that we can read on air?
Do we have
Perfect.
some?
Let's take a look at them. I'll give you the honor of reading it, Alexa.
Gwendolini Young, $7. Thank you. Alexa, is it hard for you to be part of this after everything that you have through with the police? I will say it's like throwing back in the days and remembering, but the convoy was an amazing experience of knowledge and like experience of life. And I would say that it's not hard for me because make everything that I passed through there make me more strong, and my knowledge about all these experience grow me up. So I think for me it's actually good that I'm here for learning and for hearing what the people have to say about it. And I am one of the best person to say when it's wrong, when what they say it was actually wrong of what I was able to see on the ground.
Yeah, and I haven't heard one single witness so far talk about the fact that you were shot in the leg by an officer who was there. Not a single one. But they love to talk about microaggressions. They love to talk about phantom honkings. They love to talk about feelings that got hurt. Of course. Do we have another paid chat?
Razor, I let you say that one.
Oh, sure. All in capital. I like millions of other Canadians can't wait for the next election to get rid of ourselves of that WEF child actor Trudeau and his Liberal Party. I hope it happens. I hope that we see some change in the government. Child actor, I like this one. I might use it next one instead of national drama teacher. Yeah, I'll see if Sheila lets me say it.
Yeah, I like it too.
Yeah, of course. Well, I think that's pretty much it for tonight. Well, we're already past the time that we were supposed to be at. Thank you for everyone that joined us tonight. Thank you for joining me as well, Angelica, and thank you for Alexa for your hard work today watching everything that was happening.
Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good night.
Have a great evening. Yeah.
Est-ce que je peux me répéter en anglais? So let me just repeat my answer in English. So, I really believe that we are in a very challenging time economically in Canada and also in the world. And all you have to do is look across the Atlantic to see how important in challenging moments like today, institutional stability is for a country. Canada is the country of peace, order, and good government. That is very, very valuable, and it is more valuable today than ever. From my perspective, institutional stability very much includes the independence of the Bank of Canada.